It was just another cloudy Tuesday morning at a small cafe nestled on the edge of town. The place had its charm: mismatched chairs, the scent of cinnamon rolls, and the soft hum of jazz playing through old speakers. For many, it was just a stop on the way to somewhere else. But for one young waitress named Emily, it was more than just a job. It was her haven, a place where she poured not only coffee but also kindness, day after day, despite the weight she carried on her shoulders. Emily was barely 22, working double shifts to support her little brother, who had been in and out of hospitals for the past 2 years. Their parents were gone, an accident that no one saw coming, and that still haunted her every time the wind rustled too sharply. She wore a brave face, a tired smile, and kept her head down, always giving more than she had. Most customers didn't notice her beyond the polite nods and orders scribbled in haste. But Emily never let that dull her warmth. That morning, as the rain began to drizzle outside, the door creaked open, and a man walked in, tall, slightly disoriented, and clearly out of place. His suit jacket was damp, his expression distant, as if he was lost in a city he should have known well. He glanced around, uncertain, until his eyes met Emily's. She greeted him with the same bright smile she gave everyone, though something about him tugged at her instincts. Maybe it was the way he kept checking his phone, or how he seemed both exhausted and guarded. "Coffee?" she asked gently, setting down a menu in front of him. "Please," he muttered, barely making eye contact. She noticed the tremble in his hands as he clutched his phone, the tired crease in his brow, the barely concealed sadness in his voice. Emily had seen pain before, and she recognized it instantly. Without pressing, she simply returned with a steaming cup and set it down softly. "Rough morning?" she asked. He nodded but didn't speak. Instead, he looked out the window, then down at his phone again. "I'm supposed to meet someone here," he finally said, almost to himself. "But I think I'm too late." Emily didn't pry. She just gave him space and checked in from time to time, her gentle presence like a balm. After nearly an hour, he was still there, untouched coffee now cold, phone still in hand. Finally, he looked up, and something in his eyes broke. "I haven't told anyone this," he began, voice low. "My wife died last year. It's been just me and my daughter since. I tried to keep it all together, work, home, grief, but I missed her. My little girl. I was supposed to pick her up from her new school this morning, but I got the time wrong. She waited for over an hour in the rain before someone called me. I came here thinking she'd be with the teacher, but I missed her again." Emily listened in silence. There was nothing performative in his confession. It was raw, broken, and real. The pain of a man who was carrying far too much. "She's okay now," he added quickly, as if reading Emily's concern. "With my sister. But I can't help feeling like I've failed her." Again, there was a long pause. Emily knelt beside the table, meeting his eyes without flinching. "You didn't fail her. You're trying. And she knows that. Kids, they're resilient. What they remember most isn't a missed pickup or a wrong time, it's the love they see, the effort you put in. And I see it, even if you can't right now." His eyes welled up, but he looked away, brushing the emotion aside. "I'm sorry," he said. "You didn't need to hear all that." Emily smiled. Sometimes strangers are the safest people to talk to. No judgment, no expectations. They sat in quiet understanding, two people from different worlds sharing a moment neither expected. She didn't know that he was one of the wealthiest CEOs in the city, that he owned multiple corporations, that his face often graced business magazines. To her, he was just a father in pain, and that was all that mattered. Before leaving, he reached into his wallet to pay for the coffee. Emily shook her head. "On the house," she said. "You needed it more than I needed the tip." He hesitated, as if wanting to say more, but finally nodded. "Thank you, Emily," he said, glancing at her name tag. Days passed. Life continued its relentless pace. Emily forgot about the man, though his sadness lingered in her mind. A week later, the cafe buzzed with rumors. A fleet of luxury cars parked outside, men in suits entered first, followed by a familiar figure, clean-shaven, confident, composed. It was him. Emily froze as he walked straight up to the counter. "You said something to me I can't forget," he said. "You reminded me that effort matters. That love counts. You helped me more in 10 minutes than my therapist has in months. So I came back to return the favor." Confused, Emily stepped back as he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a folder. "I own several companies," he continued. "One of them is launching a new foundation for single parents and youth support. I'd like you to be a part of it." You have the empathy we need. I'll train you, pay for your education, help with your brother's medical bills. You gave me kindness when I had nothing to offer. Let me return that." The room fell silent. Emily stared at him, stunned. "I don't know what to say." "Just say yes," he smiled. Tears brimmed in her eyes, but she nodded, overwhelmed. The cafe erupted in quiet applause from regulars who had witnessed the moment. Months passed, and Emily's life transformed. She began working as a community liaison for his foundation, later managing outreach programs for single mothers and youth in crisis. Her brother received the care he needed, and Emily herself enrolled in a degree program in social work. Every step of the way, the man who had once been a lost father in a storm became her mentor, her supporter, and eventually, something even more. They were just two broken souls who met at a crossroads, both searching for light. Neither expected that a simple cup of coffee could change the course of their lives. And perhaps that's the beauty of life, it surprises us. In the quiet corners, in ordinary places, through acts of compassion that ripple far beyond what we can see. Behind the scenes, the man had faced boardroom battles and media scrutiny. He had built empires, sealed multi-million-dollar deals, and dined with presidents. But he often said his most important moment came not in a skyscraper office, but in a tiny cafe with chipped mugs and the scent of cinnamon in the air. Emily never let success change her. She stayed grounded, always remembering where she came from, and who she was before the world noticed. And even as her story spread, shared on blogs, local news, even national broadcasts, she always deflected the attention. It wasn't about being noticed, she once said in an interview. It was about noticing someone else. That's what changed everything. Years later, they would tell the story to others, the waitress and the millionaire, the lost father and the sister holding the world together. A story born not out of fairy tales, but from something even stronger, real, raw humanity. The cafe still stands. New staff come and go. But somewhere on the wall, tucked between old photographs and thank you notes, is a small, framed quote. Sometimes the kindest thing you do today becomes the reason someone doesn't give up tomorrow. And beneath it, two names written in fading ink, Emily and Daniel. Two people who, on an ordinary day, helped each other find extraordinary hope.